Are you going to slip out?
Just remember to start recording the computer, the OBS.
Can you do that without breaking this thing?
Yes.
Sorry, window.
Oh, you mean? Sorry.
Okay. Testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. We are live. Are you good there, Tulani?
Does this work? You test it?
Cool. Nice. Okay. Cool. We've come to time.
Is everyone here?
Stick that on. Yeah, people are going to be streaming in. This is Cape Town. It's kind of Africa. It's kind of not. So let's call it half Africa time. So people will be coming, but I think the bulk are here. So yeah, welcome everyone. It's really cool to see you all. You're all really spread out. Now, just no pressure, but if you had the urge to get up and move to the center and get a bit closer to other human beings, this is a networking event, and what has to precede networking is contact. Yep. Once you kind of close, then you can say, hey, I'm Alex, what's your name?
Balaj.
Balaj. I was told it was Bolaj. Is it?
Well, it's Balaj.
It's not Bolaj.
No, not Balaj.
Timea.
Balaj.
We have a Hungarian presence here.
Yeah, he will confirm my name.
And,
we both
okay.
Hungarian. So, yeah.
I don't have a good ear for Hungarian. Okay.
Yeah. You want to upload?
There we go.
Sure. Yeah, you actually watch out. Yeah. Sorry, we're going off track here.
No.
They're correcting me because I'm saying it's good day instead of good evening.
So this is actually on track because this is a networking event. That's part of networking, is finding out names and getting the history.
Good turnout.
So yeah.
How many pizzas do we have sold?
Too many.
Too many. We need more people, or I guess we can all each take a pizza home.
Yeah. Well, we have another slot for networking later, I believe. If that's right. So we'll be able to chow more a little bit then. But before we chow all that time, cool. Thanks everyone for coming. My name is Alex Steinberg, and this is
Balaj. Who wants to say? Kish? Kiss?
Kiss.
So it's spelled Kiss, K-I-S-S, but it's actually in Hungarian you say Kish. It's small. Yeah. Kish. Balaj.
Kish.
Kish Balaj.
Okay. Kish Balaj. Okay.
That sounds a bit funny. And it's not true. That's why school was hard. School was very hard for me. I got traumatized.
Did you have at least some pretty people kissing you?
That went a long way. Especially when I'm at the till paying for something. They're like, so, hello. Do you want to know what my surname is? It's Kiss. And she's like, yes, it's beautiful. It's a friendly name. And yeah, you can get a free kiss.
Okay, I'll politely pass on that one tonight.
That's
but
getting a bit too close with networking now.
A little bit too much networking.
So don't do that. Okay.
That's networking 2.0. I'm still on 1.0.
I think we're in the wrong group here. This is not idea. I promise you'll keep it tech and we'll behave.
Yeah, I think on meetup.com there are other groups for that kind of thing, hey?
Yes. Don't tell the wife.
Okay, so moving along swiftly. So, Balaj, please tell us about your group.
So it's the Cape Town Software Developer Meetup. And
so, I have to interject. There's a Cape Town Software Development Meetup, and there's a Cape Town Software Developer. Which one are you?
I'm not really sure. So there's a bit of a history to it. The meetup was created prior to COVID, and we had been, after COVID, find a group that was about to be closed down. So we just paid to take over. So we just took over, and now we have this group. And we just wanted to have a coffee and talk about tech. But it has like quite a big members. And I think the idea was to bring people together just after COVID and find a space to meet in person, because I think things got too disconnected and remote. And so I think we just really believed in how can we find better ways of creating a good space, safe space for software engineers and people that enjoy talking about technology. So, and yeah, it has grown. We have grown from 4 people having coffee to 90 to 100 people, and we have wonderful venues. And now I have the opportunity to collaborate with Alex from another community called Deep South Dev. So yeah, thank you.
Sure. I will tell you about Deep South Dev, but before I do that, tell me if people want to get more involved with your group, what can they do?
So at the moment, the group is on meetup.com. I think you all, that's how you joined. We have a WhatsApp group that you can also sign up. At the moment, I am running the group as an admin, but there is a space for all of us to get involved and help out and help organize. I don't think we have matured what we can do. I think there's a lot more we can do going forward, but for now, the best way to really find more about what we're about is on the meetup.com. But I think maybe we need to do better with the website. We need to do better with putting ourselves out there. But I think running this as one person, finding the time is really hard. So.
Cool. So reach out, direct message on meetup.com.
Yeah.
And if you want to get involved.
Join the WhatsApp if you can.
Okay, so the link is there on the on the page.
Community
Nice.
page.
Okay, cool. Sweet. Yeah, so Deep South Devs, not to belabor anything, but we started about 8 years ago. Who's here from the Deep South and connected via Deep South Devs? Okay. Cool. So because we're so far, a few people, so yeah, we're in the Deep South kind of Fishhook area and kind of Tokai, and what the definition is of Deep South is really a moving target. But basically, yeah, the idea is just to connect people interested in software, in technology. I'm a software developer, and sometimes the job can get a little bit dreary, a little bit boring. And so we meet to encourage each other and just keep that fire going, and help each other grow, and make great connections. If you think of Silicon Valley, what preceded Apple and all these companies were just connections, just authentic community, people getting to know each other. And I've made lifelong friends through organizing this group. So I really encourage you guys that if you are further south, reach out, come chat to me and just get more involved in organizing, and you will make relationships that will change your life. Definitely, 100%. If you're a bit further north, definitely chat to Balazs. And that's kind of all I have to say about that. So thanks for coming. You got some slides here. Do we need to go through?
Really? I think maybe just the one thing. It's just the mission is to make Cape Town the Silicon Valley of Africa. So I think it's really up to the community to make this great. I think it's not going to be up to me, but I think I appreciate everyone coming through, and also I think Interledger to making this happen, and the UCT. It's a wonderful space, and just formalities. Everyone knows the bathroom is one floor up, right? And there is some freebies outside, T-shirts, and they're welcome to have. And if there's pizzas left, I guess people can take pizzas home. And I think next is going to be thank you for the speakers. Thank you for coming and offering your different topics. And thanks for Alex for organizing those speakers. It's really cool.
Cool. Awesome.
So who's next?
Thank you. Yeah. So in terms of formalities, also we do have some things to give away. We have some coffee, so a roastery in Basin Verwachting in Constantia. Got some digital vouchers if you want to order coffee beans and get some money off. Then we'll be doing that a bit later, kind of raffling at the end. And there's also JetBrains software licenses. If you're into that, then we've got some. It's worth a couple $100. We'll be doing that at the end. And again, thank you to Interledger for putting this together. We will hear from them in a little bit. So first, let me introduce our first speaker. He's fresh from the speaking circuit, so he's probably the most famous person here. He's just been at DevConf, which is a really cool event if you guys haven't attended. I know Dion. Dion connected me to Rob. They are both total Clojure nerds, functional programming nerds. And when I asked Rob, when I called him up to ask if he's keen to speak, he was literally 1,000 meters above sea level in Table Mountain. And he took the call, and he answered the call in the rain. So thank you. So I'm not really going to say anything else, but let's give a round of applause for Rob Wood. You good here? No.
Let's hope that this archaic old machine decides to play along. Can you just clip that on somewhere for me?
Should be fine.
Cool. Can everyone hear me all right? Cool. First, thanks for making it out here. It's cold, miserable, and wet in Cape Town at the moment, so we appreciate the effort. And I hope you're all warm and dry and above the waterline, because jeepers, some of the flooding out there. So let's kick us off. And do apologize, the setup's changed last minute here, so we're just making sure everything works out. Okay. So, here we have a good number of well-known and well-regarded companies, both internationally and locally. All of these companies have a couple of threads weaving them together. One, they're companies that have high data processing demands. Two, those data processing demands are all either sensitive or critical. And three, all of these companies have chosen the same technical solution built around functional programming and immutable data. They all chose to solve their problems with a functional Lisp called Clojure. Before we jump right into that, let's take a moment to investigate who some of these companies are and what they're using Clojure for. So Nubank here, they're a banking startup from Brazil. They started in 2013, and they're now a $60 billion company with over 100 million customers. They're the biggest digital bank in the world, and they built everything on top of Clojure. Or how about NASA? They're one of the biggest data processors in the world. Considering how much information comes out of their telescopes, they have to have incredibly comprehensive approaches to managing and working through that data. And how about the biggest company in the world by revenue, Walmart? They rebuilt significant sections of their order and receipt management systems in order to better support their 10,000 stores for Black Friday. And they all chose to do that in a weird functional Lisp. What's going on here? Why are companies choosing this strange solution when they have critical needs for concurrency, reliability, and throughput? Okay, but putting parentheses to one side for a moment, let's come back home. This evening, I'm going to tell a bit of a local story, the story of Yuppie Chef. And shout out to the Yuppie Chef crew up in the corner there. 6 years ago, on my first Tuesday at Yuppie Chef, I broke the warehouse. And not in the profound sort of way. Not the way where I'm going to subvert expectations and actually it was a good thing. No, I made a mistake. I broke it, and somewhere near 100 people couldn't do their jobs. But before we jump into the guts of that, hands up if you know Yuppie Chef. No? Fair crew. How many of you know that Yuppie Chef has built almost all of its tech in-house and in a functional Lisp enclosure? Yeah? Some of the Yuppie Chef guys, not all of them. Don't know what they're doing over there. For those who haven't heard of Yuppie Chef, we're a premier houseware company founded in 2006 from a lounge in Plumstead, back when the idea of e-commerce was about as reliable as the load shedding schedule. Just look at how chunky those laptops are. Like, we have come a long way since then. And honestly, looking back at the first version of the website, I don't blame people for thinking it was a scam. Like, if you saw this today, that's 100% a scam. Founded by Andrew and Shane in a Plumstead lounge, Yuppie Chef's grown into a international presence with 21 stores, delivering millions of orders and handwriting hundreds of thousands of cards to customers. While the business journey deserves a talk of its own, the technical story takes us even further back. The year is 2001, and we have a different sort of odyssey on our hands. Back when ASP ruled the land and single-page apps were still science fiction, we were making technical decisions that would shape Yuppie Chef's future for the next 25 years. Back then, out-of-the-box e-commerce solutions just didn't exist. The decision was made early on. We'd be building our own systems from the ground up. This commitment to in-house development would become a defining characteristic of Yuppie Chef, shaping not just the technology, but our entire approach to problem solving. In fact, that's the thing that drew me to the company in 2019. So then where do I slot in? The name's Rob. I'm an adventurer at heart and a programmer by necessity. If I could manage it, I'd rather be on top of a mountain. Thanks, Alex. Or deep in a cave. Little did I know, joining Yuppie Chef in 2019 would be the start of one of my biggest adventures yet. Just enough time to hit my stride, and then bang, COVID lockdown, which was a particularly weird time in e-commerce. Our sprints had become these like bizarre late night sessions, waiting for Uncle Cyril to call us to the family meeting, just to tell us what we could and couldn't sell the next day. One day it's essential goods only, the next day it's alcohol only on Fridays. What does that mean for e-commerce? And the rules changed faster than we could think. But here's the thing. We could still update our systems. Overnight, we were retrofitting a system that had been built over 20 years, and we were doing it with confidence. Not because we were particularly brilliant developers, though we had some great ones, but because we had managed to build something that was actually changeable. And this kind of agility didn't happen by accident. It came from having a system and a team that valued simplicity above all else. When the world turned upside down, instead of fighting with our tools, we were using them to solve these real problems. And the ability to change course wasn't about individual skill. It was about having built a ship that could actually turn. So let's take some steps back to where it all began. Now, for a good while, that was the Yuppie Chef warehouse. It wasn't great at being a warehouse. Stock holding wasn't a very big problem because you would take an order, you would print out a sheet with the items on that order, place it on a desk somewhere, and order the items from your supplier. It was effectively drop shipping as we know today. But wait a week or two, eventually fulfill the order, and it was more like next month delivery. On the technical side, Yuppie Chef started out by building on top of a PHP base, back when PHP was the cool kid on the block. Backend was heavily focused on taking care of capturing and management of orders, modeling it from a financial perspective. And as we got more and more of those orders, we started to order some overflow stock. Keep a little extra on the side just in case the next time someone orders that. Skip forward a little while, and the stock holding's now big. We had our first real technical challenge, running a stock-based business that was beginning to scale. Picking items for an order, turns out, is actually really hard when you want to solve it in a scalable and practical way. To understand why this was such a challenge, we need to remember the times we were living in back then. We hadn't figured out e-commerce. Take-A-Lot didn't exist. Who here remembers Kalahari.net? There we go. That's a throwback. I've got such distinct memories of waiting at our gate for my new PlayStation game to arrive. And they would just give me a window. It's like, it's going to arrive in the next 2 weeks. Who knows when, but it was so exciting. Now, then it was the highlight of my month. Now, a delivery, it's so ingrained in our lives, we barely think of what it was like before. If it doesn't arrive tomorrow, I'm probably not going to order it. We've become so spoiled by our access to all of this, and we take it for granted. Little did we know, but we had a serious mountain ahead of us. We'd upgraded from our single shelf in the back to a few aisles of shelves, knocked down some walls, and great, we had a place to put more stock. But now, no real idea how to manage it. Hunting for items that could be anywhere, a single wedding registry could take half a day to fulfill. We had a problem on our hands, and it was time to make some decisions. How could we manage this warehouse? And how could we make picking even marginally easier? We tried some creative solutions. One of the more interesting ideas was you take the warehouse and you just arrange it A on the one side, Z on the other side. And then, cool, you need to find your order with only items starting with K. It's kind of easy. Grab them all at once and you can ship it out. It worked, sort of, but we're still spending way too much time walking around. And the improvements were marginal. And then there was the internet. Back in 2011, the internet was even less reliable than electricity. And that's saying something, considering load shedding had already been a thing since 2007. Man, ESCOM, get it together. We needed a system that could keep the warehouse running even while the internet went down. That meant building something that lived entirely on our own hardware, something in-house that could operate completely offline. Humans searching the warehouse was no longer good enough. We needed a system that could search the warehouse for us. It's 2011, we're a big boy company now, and we had some decisions to make. What do big boy companies use to build their software? Who here is using Java EE? Anyone? Oh, nobody. It's different from the dev conference. Oh, someone. Some people still go through that rite of passage. Back then, it was a particular experience to get it up and running. We went all in. Java EE, and what's Java EE without a Swing UI framework front end? And while we're in there, let's throw in some JBoss and some Firefly for good measure, the obvious choices. 6 months, countless design meetings, endless architectural discussions, and what did we have to show for it? Not very much. In a space where you don't know what you don't know, it's really hard to build a system that suits every problem you might encounter. There's a reason why SAP and its ilk can cost millions. They're modern-day monuments of complexity, built on decades, maybe even centuries of expertise. It was around this time a certain Rich Hickey gave a talk that would change everything. Simple made easy. A talk I'd highly recommend as required watching for any developer of any background. But a few pearlers that stuck with us from that talk were: developers know the benefit of everything, but the trade-off of nothing. It's in our nature to think additively when we're trying to solve a problem. We're faced with it, and our first instinct is to add something. We feel like the only way to a solution is to add a solution. A new feature, a new layer, a new abstraction. It's so much harder for our brains to think subtractively, to consider what we might remove from the problem space. And so our mindset has been trained as, what does this bring to the table, as opposed to the more nuanced, how is my problem best solved? ORMs are OMG complexity. When most of us learned to program, we were handed this hammer called object orientation. And like any good hammer, it's really good at hitting nails. But somewhere along the way, we forgot that not everything is a nail. We started building entire frameworks to make sure that everything looked quite like a nail, just so we could keep using our favorite hammer. We stopped counting the cost of this complexity, and we just took it for granted. Simplicity is prerequisite for reliability, by everybody's favorite Dijkstra. And that's when it clicked. Every time we built a class hierarchy or mutated data in place, we were spending this complexity budget. We were making our software less reliable. And when that budget ran out, the debt collectors came knocking. We've all been there, that moment when you realize your beautiful abstraction has now become a liability, when the very thing that was supposed to make your code more maintainable has now locked it in place. So where to from here? As it turned out, Rich Hickey had been thinking about these problems. He'd recently released a new language called Clojure, built on the JVM with a radically different approach to simplicity. And just to give you guys a bit of a taste as to how different this approach was, let's look at the code lifecycle of a few open source programming languages. Everybody's favorite Rust. Everybody loves Rust, right? Some sniggers, some support. Now, as you can see, this graph shows us the lines of code introduced to Rust over time. As time goes on, less and less of the language is actually powered by the same underlying code. A program written in 2015 but compiled today only shares about 7% of the underlying language code. And how about Node? Just as bad. That program you wrote in 2015, only 8% of the same language code today comes out. And into Clojure, a code base so solid in its principles that it doesn't get recycled every few years. It's actually quite jarring when you line it up against the status quo of today. That same program in 2015 shares 90+% of the underlying code compiled today. So, we decided to do a bit of an experiment. How about we take our Java EE, Swing UI, JBoss festival and rebuild it in Clojure? Any guesses as to how long it took us to replace that 6-month-long period of working? Any guesses? 2 weeks. Oh, dead on. Nice. Have you been told the story? No. Oh, okay. You know how slow Java EE is? 2 weeks. Just let that sink in for a moment. 6 months of meetings, architecture, complexity, replaced by 2 weeks of actual building. What on earth had we been doing all that time? Let's break it down. How did we achieve in those 2 weeks what had taken 6 months? And more importantly, what did this tell us about the role simplicity was playing and precisely what we were trading it off with? The answer, it turns out, lies in something we deal with every day: our finite brain space. Who here can hold an infinite number of things in their head? No? No? I don't know, some devs are egotistical. You wouldn't be surprised. But there's no lies here, which is nice. We're in good company. Unfortunately, as much as CPUs haven't really kept up with Moore's law, our brains have been dealt an even worse hand. Instead of getting better, if anything, we're getting worse at keeping our focus. We, as developers, are constantly fighting this battle. How much can we keep in our heads at once? Is it business logic, quirks of our system? How many emails we desperately need to reply to? You just can't find time and space for it all. Complexity is the most valuable currency we use in our day-to-day jobs. And where we spend that currency, I feel like we've stopped paying attention to as a community. Let's break it down. In the world of creating software, you're constantly juggling multiple concerns, for argument's sake. Let's say your existing existing 20% of your brain space goes to understanding your business logic. Maybe another 30% is consumed by being an expert in your language and its quirks. And maybe another 30% is taken up by understanding existing implementations, legacy. That's 80% of your capacity gone before you even start creating a feature. 20% isn't really leaving you much room to work with. How can you expect yourself to do well under those circumstances? Add in urgent features, meetings about missed deadlines. Suddenly, you've got a recipe for achieving not much at all. And this isn't why any of us fell in love with programming. This is a nightmare. How do we unwind this knot? Instead of thinking about more, what if we think about less? Let's take a closer look at that 30% chunk we're spending on language knowledge. Does the language we use really need to take up that much of our brain space? The way I like to think of it is that Clojure's approach isn't new. In fact, it's really old. It asks a seemingly simple question: what is the minimal set of tools we need to do our job? And can we become experts in all of it? Mutable data by default? Do we really need that? Endlessly extensible types that bind complexity into every corner of your application? How about we just treat data as data and leave it at that? In fact, let's just have a few basic types and a few collection types. Cool. Let's let them interact with each other in sensible ways. Cool. Let's have first-class functions. In order to have less things, the things that we do have need to be more performant. Because passing functions around and composing them is a lot easier to reason about than class hierarchies and polymorphism. And speaking of object class hierarchies, they have their place. But when you're jumping into a problem space where you don't know what you don't know, modeling can be a fool's errand. Make no mistake, Clojure was not the easiest language to pick up. In fact, it's probably one of the more difficult, precisely because of what makes it simple. Each tool in Clojure does one thing, and it does it well. That's the most simple and flexible way to build your software. You have a tool, and that tool serves a specific job. As soon as you start to complete and interweave ideas into your tools, you run into a problem. For example, in Ruby, especially with Rails, you can make a Ruby application serve web requests in 5 minutes. But good luck changing paradigms in a 20-year-old legacy Ruby application. Magic, by its very nature, is unreasonable and complex. When you're dealing with complex tools, over time, that complexity is going to compound. And you have to serve the compound interest in whatever way that you can. But if you're willing to take a slow start and learn an environment with simple tools and learn how to build things up from first principles, you can create an environment that is custom built to your needs and as flexible as you want it to be. The side effect of this approach is that you develop a deep understanding of what's actually happening in your application, with very little of the language semantics getting in the way. It's not a popular approach, I'll give you that. People love the fast, the AI generated, the quick and dirty, because it shows results now. But I'm willing to bet in a few years' time, there's going to be some really good jobs cleaning up some legacy code bases. And I think for all our technologies, we've lost this idea of craftsmanship, of really creating something that's bigger than the sum of its parts, that allows you to generate leverage over time. But, unfortunately, there we were, happily going about our day jobs, using this new Clojure tool, and feeling mighty chuffed about ourselves. Everything seemed so easy in Clojure. Unfortunately, it's a very pragmatic language. So instead of trying to kickstart its own ecosystems of problems to solve, it was built on the JVM. Great if there's a wonderful tool that's already built, some mild interop, and you can use the Java library. But, and a really big but, we were yet to experience the other side of sharp tools for the first time. a small bug had been left in the code that allocated our stock to our orders, in which it didn't really handle negative quantities. And what happened one day when someone was deciding to return their Nespresso machine for the first time, our shiny new warehousing software said, "Ha! How dare you return something to me? I'll show you." And it proceeded to take every last one of our Nespresso machines, 46 to be precise, and ship them back to that same customer. 46 Nespresso machines. How do you like them beans? In the ultimate act of passive-aggressive warehousing and some very confused packers, we had the world's most caffeinated customer on our hands. Thankfully, mistakes easily made were easily fixed. And this one had only had an effect on that single customer. Now, I realize that I've been talking about closure and its simplicity for quite some time now, but what does that actually look like in practice? Now, I can't show you much on a whiteboard, unfortunately, but let's get started. Everything is a function. Addition, it's a function. How about naming a variable? Well, that's just a function. How about transforming that data? Well, if you slide two functions together, hey presto, your data's transformed. And what if you want to sum that all up at the end? Well, just use another function. And so in a very short space of time, and with very little language on the board, we can start doing some really powerful transformations to our data. And these are the fundamentals of what's really motivating a lot of people to use Closure. It just gets out of your way. It's not a language that says you have to do this incantation or that chant before it'll let you do your thing. It keeps it simple. Unfortunately, things were going well, but it wasn't all whisks and wine glasses at Yuppie Chef. There's something bizarre that happens in human psychology when you offer something for free. People hardly bat an eyelid. No matter the value you're offering, people will turn their noses up because free so often means scam. But if you offer that exact same value, but for just a small fee, people go ballistic. So, it was February 29th, 2024, the leap day. And the marketing department had a great idea to give away a KitchenAid mixer for 29 Rand. Oh, how cute is that? And the only problem being how that offer came about. Without the dev team's knowledge, it was going to be given out as a voucher on the front page of the website. Important editor's note, the voucher system had never been designed with concurrency in mind. So there we are, enjoying our leap day, minding our own business, and out of nowhere, the server CPU starts skyrocketing. It's battle stations, nobody knows what's going on. We think we're getting DDoSed, until a very sheepish voice from marketing comes over and lets us know of the monster that they've released into the wild. And so we had our problem. Over 1,000 people competing for a single voucher, the website hanging on for dear life. And when you attempted to check out, the system would check to see that nobody else has that same voucher in their cart. Of course, you don't want multiple people using the same voucher. And we had our very own human race condition. As I saw it, we had two options. Hope the problem goes away. Not really an option. People were getting incredibly mad that they weren't able to get their 29 Rand KitchenAid mixer. The site was wavering, social media was on fire. There had to be something else. Option two, remove the concurrency check for the briefest possible moment. Now, I wouldn't be telling the story if we did that and everything went perfectly. But we did do that. And in the same 10th of a second, according to the timestamps, not one, not two, but 3 people managed to check out and get their lovely new KitchenAid mixers. So unfortunately, that marketing campaign got a little bit more expensive than we had hoped. But it really was another moment in my career that reinforced our needs for simplicity. The voucher system was and is complex. And when something unexpected happens, we couldn't react. We couldn't react in a way that was reasonable and cohesive. We had to take a chance. It became so difficult to act confidently. And that's exactly why we needed our tools. The tools that help us understand and modify our systems quickly. Tools that let us see what's happening in real time to make changes with confidence and understand the impact of those changes immediately. The keys to a big part of this broad-scale simplicity is a tool dubbed the REPL, redevel print loop, if you like. Now, many of you know a REPL, but let me introduce you to the sharpest scalpel in the closure toolbox. In essence, think the matrix. It's an application that can jack into a running closure program, and not only does it have access to any symbol in your running application, it can overwrite any of those symbols on the fly, changing and developing your program while it runs. Now, at this point, the hackles on your neck should be at full alert, but let's see if we can convince you for a moment to suspend your disbelief and run with me. This approach built some pretty epic things. In a landscape where simplicity rules and there's only functions as far as the eye can see, all of a sudden it's very easy to make reasonable and considered changes to a running closure program. Once you can understand and trust your program, your world opens up. Have a bug occurring in production, but no idea how to replicate it? Well, REPL and some logging, and Bob's your uncle. A critical bug has crept into production, crashing a particular flow, but the error is obvious? Well, you don't have to wait for a full compile, deploy, run cycle. Just REPL in the change. Need to experiment with some data to figure out what shape it is? Well, great, REPL in and have at it. Now, it's definitely on the cowboy end of the spectrum, but these same facilities are available to you in your development environment. And enter REPL-driven development. We all know test-driven development. It's become a cornerstone of modern software development. But I'd like to suggest that we've lost something in our pursuit of test coverage. We've become so focused on security and validation that we've forgotten how to trust our own work. Think about it. When was the last time that you wrote code without immediately thinking about how you were going to test it? We've grown so used to the rug being pulled out from under us that we crave the security of the green check mark. But as anyone who's really followed TDD will tell you, you won't think of everything. There will be bugs. And there will always be gaps in your thinking. It's almost like it's become fear-driven development, that we can have our safety blanket over us so we can sleep at night. We're so afraid of what our application might do that we build skyscrapers surrounded by load-bearing scaffolding. We add layer upon layer of tests trying to catch every possible edge case. But here's the thing. No builder in the world will test every brick before they lay it. They use their experience and judgment to know when to verify and when to trust. Is this wall straight? Is that wall load-bearing? They test the things that matter, not every single component. So, what if we took a different approach? What if instead of writing tests first, we wrote code in smaller, more focused pieces? Code that exists in its own capacity, that's easy to reason about, easy to run, and does exactly what what it says on the tin. And in essence, maybe let's learn to trust what we're writing again, instead of trying to find a surrogate to trust. This is where the REPL comes in. It's like having a conversation with your code, and not in the weird AI sort of way these days. You can try things out and see what happens, and build your understanding piece by piece. It's not about writing the perfect code first time. It's about exploring the problem space, finding the quirks, and growing your understanding and your solution inside of your running application. Because at the end of the day, your application is going to run. It is the one core you can't get away from in programming. And when you understand your code deeply, you don't need as many tests. You've built trust through exploration and understanding. You know what your code does because you've seen and felt it work, not because you've written tests for every possible scenario. This isn't to say we should abandon testing, far from it. But maybe we should think about it slightly differently. Maybe we should focus on understanding our code first, and then we can add tests where they matter most. It's these very approaches that I bumped into when I broke the warehouse in my first week. What at the time felt like a career-altering mistake was barely a blip on the radar. Within a few minutes, my colleague had repelled into the production environment, understood what data was clogging the pipe, saw where exactly that clog was happening, and unblocked it, hardly batting an eye. Yuppie Chef has been really lucky. We existed in a time and a place where the world was ready to explore e-commerce for the first time. It gave us the room to make mistakes and ample time to iterate through failed approaches. We could play and discover in a way that was always going to be transient. Today, e-commerce is a different beast altogether. Starting something by yourself is close enough to impossible, especially if you were to be crazy enough to build everything in-house. But hopefully, if this talk is leaving you with anything, it's this. Be on the lookout for when the world is ready for a new paradigm. And if you can, take on that paradigm, take it on, and take simple tools. Looking back at where we began, a warehouse in chaos, a team struggling with complexity, and a system that was becoming harder and harder to maintain by the day. We could have thrown more stuff at the problem, more frameworks, more abstractions, more tests, but instead we took a step back and asked ourselves, could we do with less? Our answer led to closure and to the REPL and a different way of thinking about software development. It led us to a system that could be understood, modified, and trusted, a system that could handle the unexpected, like a global pandemic, with grace and flexibility. And the beauty of this approach isn't just in the code that we wrote. It's in the space that it creates, the space to think, to understand, to solve real problems. When you're not fighting with your tools, when you're not drowning in complexity, you can focus on what matters. Building software that works, that's maintainable, and that you can trust. So the next time you're faced with a complex problem, remember the warehouse. Remember that sometimes the best solution isn't to add more, but to understand what you already have. Remember that the right tools, used well, can transform not just your code, but your entire approach to software development. Thank you very much. If there are any questions about the tech or the journey, we can hop into a Q&A, or if the timekeepers are upset with me, we can move on. But also feel free afterwards at any time to come up, ask. And thank you very much. Oh, any questions? Yeah.
So just, I mean, Clojure is a bit of an edge kind of a language. What made
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys choose it, and did you have skills? And how long does it take you to ramp up? Or is it learning Clojure?
So he's the man who made that decision. As I wasn't there for it, so he might butt in and correct me, but we didn't have any skills. We had been following Clojure for maybe a year or two at that point, because it had only been around for 2 years. Richiki had become quite an interesting thought leader. And from the actual learning the syntax to writing code, I think it was pretty immediate. There was...
I mean, I started with literally building Minecraft mod.
Yeah.
And
So it was build a Minecraft mod, then go to production. That's the pipeline.
very good.
And yeah, credit to it. It's now, what, 11 years later, and that code's doing wonderfully for us. And is now, I think, the biggest portion of our system as we go.
Did you start off with some kind of a small prototype? Because I mean, it's quite a big jump going from way out of the main street like that, and then developing a system successfully as you had. Was it basically the fact that you thought, let's try a small piece first, or were you just confident enough to go
So
straight?
at that stage, the small piece was the warehouse management, because we didn't have a solution there. So it got to be greenfields, and it got to be, like, we had that test in Java EE that didn't quite work out. So we had, like, explored it a little bit, but it was very much a little bit of a risk, but it paid off at the end of the day. Any other questions? Yes. A couple. So we would use normal relational data stores. So it was MySQL, and MariaDB as that transition happened, but also now Datomic, which is, for those that don't know Datomic, it's essentially, they call it an entity attribute value store, because you have one big table and those are your only columns. I'm simplifying, but you basically store every version of your data in that one table. So relationships become a lot more malleable and unnecessary in a lot of regards. And so it's also entirely immutable, so data cannot change. You're only adding at the end of it. And especially for critical systems, it creates a really interesting use case, because you can look at your data at a point in time. You can, without any extra code, any extra work, you get that for free. And there's also another thought process in the data log databases of bitemporality, where there's a system time and there's also an application time, and you can time travel through these timelines, which sounds scary. It's actually boring and simple at the end of the day, but is really, really effective for answering those particularly hard to answer questions. Yeah, question at the back there. Yeah, so originally when we built that system, it was on Metal in the back room. Then it moved off to Hetzner, Hetzner at the time, Xnilo now, but we've since moved off of that into AWS. I think this man's coming up to chase me away. Yes?
Sorry, you said you didn't really have the skill set for, I don't know if it's a language or like
For Clojure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's two questions. What gave you the drive that despite you were having that insufficiency in skills, what gave you the drive to actually do it anyways? And then the second question is, how did you go around? Did you guys just literally learn as you go, or did you eventually find the skill set somewhere? How did you start to where you... Do you get what my question?
Yeah.
Just of my question.
So the first part of being like, what pushed us over that line to get there? I think, so again, I'm speaking for Dion, but there was an incredible frustration at Java in particular, and just the experience of developing software with it. And like the platform of Java is incredible. The JVM is a work of art in terms of how portable it is, how performant it is. And the problem is the language on top. So I think part of it was like, well, let's pop in this other language and see how well it performs and make decisions from there. And then when it just kept on working, we kept on going. And to the talent question, I think still to this day, we've never employed someone with Clojure skills before they got to YuppieChef. So very much training on the job, going, and yeah, fortunately it's only really, like it's a small language. It's very simple to pick up all the pieces. It takes maybe 6 months and then you're good to go. So it's not too far away from a normal dev experience ramping up. But yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob. All right, so we've got a bit of a change of programming. We're going to jump straight into the next session, and then after that, it's a bit of a shorter one, and then you'll have some time to stretch your legs and bathroom break. Of course, if you need the bathroom, you're always welcome to do that. Unless you're sitting in the middle and you have to kind of squeeze past people, then maybe you'd rather not. But so it's my privilege to welcome representatives from the sort of key sponsor of the evening. You put this all together. Nathan comes all the way from San Francisco. We were talking earlier about Silicon Valley and how Balaj and I share a dream of really seeing a Silicon Valley here in Africa, a proper one. Not like a lame knockoff. Yeah, it's just a side note. I just actually came back from the States and I was stressing about what to wear at this conference. And so I got this friend who's French and South African. And I was saying, he helped me out with showing me about like some, clothes and stuff. But I asked him, I can't find shoes. And where do I find shoes? He said, I just don't know. I know how to shop in France, but in South Africa, everything, they take some international idea and they make some knockoff here. And so we can't really help you. So we don't want to do that. We want a proper thing. But Nathan just got here from San Francisco, literally this morning, right?
This afternoon.
This afternoon. Okay, so you're in that honeymoon phase before the jet lag really kicks in. So we're just going to let you let rip. And
As soon as I'm done, I'm going right for the coffee.
Okay. And Timea, the anglicized version is Timea, but she'll tell you how to pronounce her name. There's a Hungarian thing. She's from, who knows where Transylvania is? Who knows what continent Transylvania is on? One person, 2, 3. Okay, you're going to do it 4. Okay, well, she'll tell you where Transylvania, I'll tell you. It's in Europe. It's in Romania, but it's a section of Romania that's Hungarian.
Has Hungarians also.
That has Hungarians. So she's a Hungarian, Romanian in South Africa, and they are both going to tell us all about open payments, Interledger, what it's about. So let's give them a round of applause.
Hello, Cape Town. Good evening. How's everyone doing? Wow, it's like a football stadium in here. All right, well, as stated, I am Nathan.
I'm Timea.
That was Timea, in case the mic didn't get that.
Let me tell you how it's pronounced, Timea, but you can call me Timea. It's okay. And just a small anecdote. So Balázs is Kis, he's small. I am Nagy, I'm big. So that's, our family names are total opposites.
And we are here to discuss the business of doing business with Interledger. So, let's set the stage a little bit. Let's answer our who, what, when, wheres, and whys. So, what's Interledger? Interledger is a peer-to-peer accounting protocol that is lightweight and lowers the barrier of entry to the global financial system. It is capable of fast messaging and payment clearing by leveraging the speed and design principles of the internet, so it's able to quickly message and send payments between member peers of the network. It is also currency agnostic, which is to say that it is not tied to a single currency, allowing peers to establish relationships using any agreed upon currency. And peers on the Interledger network settle payments on the agreed upon ledger outside of the protocol, which means that Interledger is able to support smaller payment amounts than traditional financial systems. And finally, it enables what we're calling wallet addresses. So its internet native approach allows us to use what we're calling wallet addresses, which are public identifiers which allow users of the Interledger network to easily exchange payment information. You can kind of think about it as something that points as directly to an account as, say, your routing information or your account number, but it's not nearly as sensitive. It's something that you can share very publicly and very easily. So, why use Interledger? So, first off, promotes financial interoperability. It allows different financial systems such as bank ledgers, mobile money, digital wallets, etc., to communicate and send value between each other, even if they are not directly compatible. The impact of this is that this reduces friction in global trade and finance, enabling faster and cheaper cross-border payments, especially valuable for businesses, remittances, and freelancers in developing nations. Another benefit is that it reduces the cost of transactions. Traditional financial systems often include multiple intermediaries, such as banks or clearinghouses, with associated fees and delays. Interledger allows direct routing of payments across systems with minimal intermediaries. So this will lower costs and speed up transactions, which improves business cash flows, reduces barrier to entry for startups, and increases profit margins for merchants. Thirdly, supports financial inclusion. Interledger isn't tied to any one currency or platform, so it can connect underbanked populations to the global the global economy, which opens access to financial services and markets for people who have been excluded from traditional banking systems, which can stimulate economic growth in underserved regions.
And finally, Interledger enables micropayments. The protocol is capable of supporting really small payment amounts. We're talking to the factor of like fractions of a cent, which are impractical in traditional financial systems due to the fees associated with sending payments of any size. Because it is able to enable micropayments, it unlocks new business models in digital content and the monetization of digital content, such as pay-per-view models, pay-per-read models in the case of written content, or in creator tipping models. Now the what. What's it for? First example, cross-border payments and remittances. A person in the United States could, for example, send money to a family member in Kenya, even if one uses a bank account and the other uses mobile money. The benefit of this is that the fees are lower, the transactions are faster, and there is no need for a shared payment provider for both parties. We can also use it for micropayments for digital creators. Users can pay per article, per video, or even per second of streaming without subscriptions, and in, again, as mentioned, really, really small amounts that might befit the type of content that is being consumed. So for example, and this is a term that we'll explain a little more later, we'll use something we're calling web monetization that implements Interledger to pay creators in real time. Web monetization, just to kind of skip ahead a little bit, is one such model in which we are leveraging the small payment amounts that Interledger is capable of making. Another use case, tipping and donations, enables real-time tipping of creators globally in tiny amounts. For instance, a content viewer in Brazil tips a musician in Japan that is using different currencies and systems from the payer. And finally, we have global e-commerce payments. So e-commerce sites can accept payments from customers using various local systems and settle in their preferred currency or system. This allows these sites to expand their customer base globally without managing dozens of payment integrations. So, how do we achieve this? In addition to the Interledger protocol itself, we do have a few additional building blocks to kind of help smooth out the process of negotiating payments and enhancing its overall functionality. So first up there, open payments, or OP for short. It's an open standard that the foundation is working on to help govern the acquisition of consent from wallet address owners to charge their accounts a particular amount. We're building it on top of a protocol called the Grant Negotiation and Authorization Protocol, which is a successor to OAuth 2, the protocol that features such as, say, sign in with Google or sign in with Apple on another website is built on. But what the Grant Negotiation and Authorization Protocol offers is greater flexibility than what OAuth provides, and Open Payments itself is a kind of opinionated implementation of the Grant Negotiation and Authorization Protocol, in which we are able to more clearly define, what payment amounts we want to charge to a wallet, or for instance, what frequency we want to apply these charges, and so on. Another thing we use is Rafiki. It's a software that is offered by the Interledger Foundation to easily spin up a node and join a network using the Interledger protocol. It exposes APIs for account servicers to manage their peering relationships with other peers on the Interledger network and decide what assets they want to support, or I guess more specifically, what currencies they want to support. And it also exposes open payments compliant endpoints. And finally, web monetization. It's an API for seamless micropayments on monetized web pages. For example, there's kind of two sides to it. Web pages hosting content can use web monetization by embedding a wallet address into the HTML of their desired web page, and then users who are consuming content by browsing to these web pages can support these creators with web monetization by using a browser extension that detects the wallet address embedded into the web page and begin sending payments to that address. So here are a few examples of parties that can benefit from sending payments using the Interledger protocol. We have digital wallet providers, mobile money providers, banks or fintechs, web monetization hosts, financial institutions and account servicing entities, and not on here, but of course, traditional e-commerce. I don't know, maybe something like Yuppie Chef or something could use it. But for some of the organizations that are working on implementing Interledger today, I'm going to hand it over to Tamea to explain further.
Hand over. Thank you, Nathan. Yep, it's working. Great. So we heard how, what, where, who, which one, how many. Now let's see the real implementations of Interledger. We have some working ones. We have some integrations that are in course of being in production. And I want to start with GateHub and Chi-Money. So these are multi-currency wallet providers, digital wallet providers, and they allow users to send, request, receive, manage money across borders without requiring a bank account when you sign up. So we were talking about underbanked or unbankable rural communities, and that means that if you need to sign up for digital wallet and you don't need a bank account, that's amazing. So if you go to GateHub right now, which is based in Slovenia, and if you go to Chi-Money, they are based in Canada, and you sign up, you don't need a bank account to sign up. And you can still have a wallet, you can still have multi-currency wallets and do payments across platforms. That's really amazing. And they facilitate these cross-border payments, and they are in production, so it's ready to be used. The next one I want to talk about, it's the People's Clearinghouse. They are based in Mexico, or PCH, or whatever you want to call them. They are a financial infrastructure initiative, and they are designed to support community banks and credit unions in Mexico. They aim to provide fast and affordable remittance services, allowing funds to be deposited directly into the community bank accounts instead of relying on those private costly money transfer systems. The goal is always to empower underbanked and rural communities, making sure that the remittances contribute to the local economies instead of staying in the old cash-based systems. This means that they are trying to bridge the rural communities to the global economy. They want to close that gap. And they want to do that, they want to be in production by November, when Interledger is going to have a big summit in Mexico City. So they want to showcase what they've done, and they want to be in production by then. So good luck for them. The next one I want to talk about, so first of all, the first three, GateHub, Chi-Money, and People's Clearinghouse, are all Rafiki nodes. So they implemented integrated Rafiki, which Nathan was talking about. And we have an open payments implementation right now in production, which is MMA-on. This is an interesting project, and you might think it's a little bit weird, because who knows what MMA stands for? Mixed Martial Arts, yes. So this is a mixed martial arts platform based in Slovenia, where fighters can sign up, users can sign up, fighters can promote themselves. Users, if they see the fighters fight and they like what they saw, they can tip, they can donate. Fighters can add blog posts, and they are already web monetized, so the blog post is monetized. And if someone is using the web monetization extension, they can read the blog post and pay per read, so streaming payments. 1 hour, maybe 1 cent, who knows, micropayments. And the fights are advertised there, so even the big boss can do salaries, deposit salaries with open payments. So this is the idea of MMA-on. The owner of MMA-on has dreams and is going to the Emirates to promote this because, the Emirates has a lot of money, then they throw money everywhere, so he wants them to throw it to MMA. Good luck to him as well. The last one I want to talk about is our own Interledger wallet, which is the old Feinboss wallet, and we want to re-release it quite soon. And this will also be a multi-currency digital wallet where you can send, request, receive money, handle your accounts, view your transactions, and other really cool stuff that we are planning. And at the networking session, we do have Raul over there who is in charge of re-releasing Interledger Wallet. So if you have any extra questions, just find him at the networking session. So yeah, these are some of working examples and some that will be very soon working examples. What's next? Interledger also funds grants. Every year we have grants for Interledger Enabled, which is integrating a new Rafiki node into the system, and we have Interledger Unlocked, which is basically integrating open payments into your project. And we choose some winners. These are the winners of 2024. The current year is being debated right now who will be the winners. We have here, first of all, Rafiki Remit, which is a pioneering initiative aimed at transforming cross-border remittances in Pakistan. At the heart of the project is Paces Labs, a leading digital financial services company based in Pakistan. So again, remittances, this is a very common theme when using Interledger. Secondly, we have Kenzu Finance microloans. They aim to do a faster, smarter credit loans for local communities in Uganda. The first two are all Interledger enabled, so they want to integrate the new Rafiki node into the system. The third one is BestPay. They are the winners of Interledger Unlocked, integrating open payments. The BestPay plugin is a new project of theirs. They will integrate Interledger open payments into the ShareTribe marketplace platform, enabling micro, small, and medium enterprises across the global south to accept and send cross-border payments with lower cost, local currency support, and no-code setup. So this is a marketplace. For all of these things to be integrated and for our partners to understand what they are doing, what they are integrating, we had to develop something that we can show and tell. And this is how Test Network was born. For Test Network, we started with the Test Wallet, which has a Rafiki integration. We heard that this is open source software that we have. You can find all the Test Wallet, you can play around with Play Money at wallet.interledgertest.dev. It is a wallet management system. You can create those wallet addresses. You can send requests, receive funds. You can view your transaction history, and it is all open source. So you can go and check it out. You can create an account. You can go through the KYC and just deposit some Play Money and see what happens. The next part of our test network is our test boutique, which is a simple e-commerce platform. Integrates open payments. It's open source again, and you can find it at boutique.interledgertest.dev. You can buy here luck, courage, opportunity, kindness, patience, knowledge with the Play Money from the test wallet. So you can just check out how open payments really works. Another integration of open payments is our simple payments platform called Interledger Pay, where you can pay anyone, anywhere in the world by simply just having the same wallet address from the test wallet or any integrators that have wallet address. This means that you can, if you have a GateHub wallet address, you can try it out. If you have a Chi Money wallet address, you can check it out. And it's, again, open source. to send money easily, to just check out how open payments really works. We heard about web monetization. Well, this is a really interesting project of ours. It's based on open payments again, and it enables web pages to receive payments with minimal to no user interaction from web monetization enabled users. What does this mean? You can go to your browser, click on extensions, add-ons, type in web monetization extension, find the extension. If you have a test wallet, wallet address, then it's very easy to install. It helps you step by step. And then you set up your hourly rate. You can add a top balance so you never go over that balance, even if you watch a movie for 5 hours and your balance already is topped over. So you just need to add that balance and the hourly rate to set it up. And you can also support directly the content creator. Pay as you browse, support content you love. You can find more details at webmonetization.org for this. And what happens if a content creator wants to do this, but he knows that not everyone is familiar with the web monetization extension? Where we decided to help the content creators out with our publisher tools. You can find more details webmonetization.org/tools. And what are these? Basically, helping creators to monetize their web pages. It helps you create the link for monetization, which you have to integrate into your HTML. It helps you generate a banner, to integrate a banner into your web page. And this banner basically informs the user, oh, I see you don't have web monetization extension. What do you think about checking it out? And if the banner recognizes that the user has already the extension, it will not appear. So it's checking if someone is using the web monetization extension. We have also revenue share. If maybe a content is written by 2 or 3 people, then they can choose multiple wallet addresses to get the revenue for it. We help generate this link. And upcoming releases for publisher tools would be a button to add for direct tipping, a widget, for example, like buy me a coffee or some sort. And yeah, those are the upcoming things for web monetization. We are really excited about it. Looks like it's Q&A time.
Any takers?
So the question was, how does our system plug into the national payment systems?
Yeah. I think answering your first question might help provide the solution for the rest of your questions. But so basically, so your first question was how does it connect to like traditional financial systems, right? And national ones. So when 2 members or 2 nodes on the Interledger network peer together, as part of that peering process, they off protocol agree on a asset or currency that they want to transact in, and also agree on a way to settle between each other, and that part occurs on what might be in your particular case the national financial system, but it may also be like between two bank accounts or some other existing ledger. What the Interledger protocol does essentially is it provides a form of accounting and a form of debt issuance. when two peers issue, or maybe a better way to put it is when one peer enters into sufficient enough debt with another, then that triggers a settlement on the ledger that they have agreed upon to settle on. So in that sense, it's kind of it's a messaging system for issuing debt that then triggers settlement on existing ledgers. So basically what Interledger does is I would say you could consider it almost as a way to like increase the efficiency or add efficiency where it may not exist for these systems. Without it, the use cases that we described just would be impractical. For instance, like web monetization relies on making really small payments that are impractical because many existing systems or national systems, they impose a fee that would make many small separate payments just a burden to perform. Yeah, expensive. So I would say it's more a way to make payments more efficient, more kind of in the spirit of the internet, where it is much more kind of like is capable of being much more atomic, and can help kind of ease some of the barriers to money moving in certain directions in the world.
I think as we are moving forward in South Africa, there's going to be a time where you're connecting to the Reserve Bank directly. So my first question is, does Interledger have that connection to be able to connect directly with their systems? And then the second question is, how long does it take for the money to clear? Because to give you a practical example, I transferred money today from one bank to another, and it only cleared like at 6 in the evening when I transferred it at like 11. So is there some sort of, from the technology side, is there, because there's always the political side and the bank side and the capitalistic side, but from the tech side, because obviously the goal of Interledger is to send money like you're sending an email, right? So how fast is that clearance, and is there technology that can connect directly to things like the Reserve Bank, because then it allows that almost immediate clearance?
I can really quickly answer how quickly clearing is performed, or how quickly payments are sent across the network, which is to say that essentially it is as fast as a two peers internet connection allows. An Interledger payment follows very closely in the way that data is broken up and sent on the internet, in that it is broken up into small amounts and sent very rapidly, and awaits kind of like acknowledgement from the peer that those small amounts were sent. So a short answer is basically as fast as an internet connection will allow. The second question, Tamay, do you feel comfortable taking that? The question was if Interledger is capable of plugging it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you. So basically, there's no like direct plugin. The integration needs to happen, but for integration, we offer like a lot of help, and I don't say like it's like easy, but Interledger protocol is very difficult to integrate. That's why we have Rafiki, which is a layer on top of Interledger protocol, which makes it easy to integrate and easy to connect to a Rafiki node. So it does need development, but it's not just like plug in and play, but it's close to that. And we offer a lot of support to do that. Yeah.
We have time for one concise question. So
Yeah,
we can take questions like after.
Networking session, but he was.
Do you leverage your deposits?
Leverage or deposits? That's a good question.
Not that I'm aware of. I have to admit I'm not exactly familiar with what the concept of leveraging deposits is.
Like taking out a loan or investing in liquid assets.
Making money off of the.
Oh, I would probably not.
Say no.
I would say no. Yeah.
No. In our knowledge, no. That's the short answer. No. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
All right, the time is 8 o'clock. You are free to get some grub and please meet some new people. If you come in a group, split up and meet some new people. And I'll see you back here by 8:30, so sort of 25 past. Thanks.
Did you stop the recording?
You stop it?
Are you going to stop the recording?
What do you want?
If you stop the recording, we can just start it again. Not the streaming, just
Just a recording, okay.
yeah, just that, yeah. And then the file,
Ah, it's a bit smaller.
otherwise, and then we can.
Actually, just wanted to. I don't want to create something on there.
You're busy still streaming, right? Just
Because
good one.
the second speaker, they were too close, the microphone.
Oh, the microphone is a bit too close.
So I think it's much better if they just
Put it on. Okay, we'll tell them. Is the next speaker still coming on, or
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, just make sure that is. Yeah, it was people.
Yeah, I could hear it.
Yeah, so
So was it?
Yeah, because I think they were talking into the mic too close. They were holding it here.
Is that speaker on?
Yeah, I think
It
so.
feels like it's not coming.
Maybe not as loud.
No, it's coming through the speakers.
Okay.
so yeah, the sound.
That sound will come
The
through
first
if
one
you
was
play
fine.
a clip from
The
here.
first one.
Okay.
Yeah, Robert.
Try to switch that off for a second. Okay, on the background.
I think some people are leaving. No? I'm not sure. Are you speaking next? The vibe coding.
Yes, and
Okay.
he's not here, but I trust he's on his way. I'm just doing a slide for some sponsor stuff.
Okay, cool. Actually, they even have a white So here you're going to be
Yeah.
I didn't want everybody to see, just switch over back to over there.
I just want to get that on. Some sponsor love. Cool. Thank you.
Okay.
This is great. This is right. He's gone. He's enthralled us already.
Listen,
Now it's your turn to knock his thing out the park.
I made a big mistake. I forgot my adapter.
No, we'll just put your slide on here.
I don't have slides.
What do you have?
A website. It's running locally. For the demo.
A website running locally.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you need?
An HDMI cable.
Okay.
And
We had an HDMI cable. Let's get our tech guru.
So my CTO is very keen to see overwork his hands. I'm not saying you don't have to do it, I'm explaining what was doing. So my company needs another code developer, so that's where I put my hand up to our CEO. And the CTO said, maybe I should learn it. It's a good area, and it was like economic,
Man, I'm so looking forward to it. You put in a lot of effort. Yeah, I really appreciate that.
my timing was a bit off.
Timing's perfect.
No, I mean, I went hunting over the weekend and that flew. I didn't take that into account with planning for this talk. And so when I came back and then only had like 2 days to prep.
It's gonna be great. So yeah, okay. So you need to plug in. So we had an HDMI cable. They've been using this computer, but it will actually be just fine. We don't even need these slides anymore. We're actually streaming this.
Oh really?
Yeah, we've got about 1,000 people watching.
Oh shit.
I'm joking. I don't know how many are watching. I thought it's 1,000. If we have 15, I'd be pretty impressed. It'll actually tell you, for instance. And it is for watching. There you go. Here we are. Just live.
Oh, amazing.
Yep.
I didn't know it was.
I'm going to send the link to your mom. Your wife. Yeah.
It's mostly art, like most of us know art, but then there's basically one guy.
You got the internet thing, yeah? I couldn't connect, actually. I hope you don't need internet. You need internet?
I'll just use my phone. It's fine.
The connection here is awful.
Do you guys still need an HDMI cable?
Yes, please.
Oh, are you using it?
No, I can't find it. But I'm going to look at my laptop, like maybe you're lucky and I have one.
Oh, you can't find Chad? Because there was one lying right here.
Maybe it's in there.
I might have to borrow this. Whose bag is this? Do you know?
It's pretty
Because I forgot my adapter.
Oh,
and
go for it.
this adapter will work. HDMI?
And it's like
Yeah, no, it's HDMI here. What is this, a printer? Ah, there it is.
I need an HDMI cable.
so you are
Oh, you found one?
Yeah.
Epic. Okay. I'll plug in a moment.
Choose whatever you want.
this, eh?
Yeah, for the microphone. We can talk with this to the side.
Yeah, and I have done a little bit of Python. Yeah, and SQL in some aspects, but I haven't really delved into basic data SQL that much. Yeah, so I'm mostly on the everyday.
I don't know if I'll be able to get my credentials now for the Wi-Fi.
No,
Or do you need to connect to the internet?
With the guys writing courses. I've also tried to use Compass to start learning, which when I looked at the last commit, I thought it was like, yeah, I'll take notice of it. Okay. Maybe I was looking for something else.
Did it connect?
It looks like it.
Great.
Okay.
I have a small demo, but I made a small change just before I came, and now it's not working.
Oh, well,
So just quickly instructing my guys to get started on fix it.
okay. Sweet. Wow. On the fly. Okay.
Yeah, but he hasn't done it yet. No, so I've got so many like essential tasks that my company can't do without that. I think that's one of the reasons why I haven't changed.
I think
Kind of being yeah, and but I think we are trying to develop a graphical interface for our like our server. So we specialize in
working, but no.
so we've got a kind of like quite a structured way of storing our data using for example SDKs. And
Oh shit.
so Byron is trying to visualize this graphically. There is already an off-the-shelf solution from like a global organization, but we want to like kind of customize it more. And I think yeah, he definitely needs to work on that. And I know he wants to use closure, so I'm comfortable with them together. Yeah, and it's basically to do with his development work. He's tied up in a few projects. What I know is, I looked at this, so he's put out a job spec and we're going to hire a new person who's kind of like taking time because we're a startup with a low budget. Yeah.
It's a challenge, like getting out of startup.
Yeah. Yeah. So kudos to you because
But I think the side effect is the biggest benefit.
highly skilled people, especially who are willing to work with lower pay.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know what it's like. What's nice about Bridges is does like have a higher price point.
Do you think we could just quickly connect you? We can always put the screens off. I just want to make sure the connection is successful to your laptop, to the projectors.
Okay. Everything's working.
So I'm interested, are you full-time at one company?
Yes, so I'm getting into personal assistance.
Okay. Everything seems to be fine. Okay. Yeah, I'll just switch that off in the meantime. So you can just leave that like that.
How do you switch between these two?
So yeah, you just click on laptop, left and right.
Okay. I think my laptop is configured to use this now as a second screen, so I just quickly have to change it.
Okay. Let me put that. Yeah. So these seconds.
Sorry? Yeah, I need to mirror.
Guys, don't know what's
No, it's not. It's nothing. Don't get your hopes up too high.
It's too late.
No.
What is that?
It's just a skull, probably like a cow or something.
Something you shot.
No.
You don't keep it
No, I do, but I don't photograph them like this. Well, the skull, I keep the skull in the horns.
but you taxi do.
No. No, the stuff I have lying around at my house is just the horns that's been cut off from the skull. So it's just the horns, like you would see in some places. But from the Hunter's Weekend, now I'm going to keep the horns on the whole skull. So you can see the whole skull of the animal with the horns on it. I think it's going to be very cool.
Yeah.
This light.
Yep.
You know what? Feel free. If you are ever in a moment of waxing lyrical and not like keep it like there, just come out into the light. Just connect.
Okay. I will.
And then you can go back.
Okay.
It's quite dark.
Okay. I'll do that.
I could also.
I just my slides have disappeared. So I just need to see what is going on. Why nothing is showing up. Because I removed it. That's why.
The biggest thing is we'll organize like
Because I removed it. And it's there.
And then I'll pull people in. You can sit down. I'll introduce you. I'll pull you up.
Do you want me to lower the screen? Drop the screen?
If you can, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Just push it button.
Wow.
Perfect.
Yeah, see. I want one of these in my house.
Okay, so if we go laptop,
Yeah. Go back to PC. You just
PC.
yeah, that's that.
Okay, so we'll just leave that up. I'm going to talk about.
So when should I put that on?
When you want to start speaking.
I'll put it on you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're quite a good role.
Any variation? There's a new phrase that's still yeah. Look, when I started with journalism, I almost find the traffic. I'm trying to keep up. I'm like, hey, I'm taking myself over here because I'm trying to be busy. You know what I mean? This time of day, LinkedIn was very quiet. And I just made a post on ChatGPT must be down. And you should have seen the reaction. Yeah, it is down. Because it was posting. But for a person who even if you modify it, I can feel it. And it's actually
Okay. Grab your drinks. I think the food's finished, so well done there. Are there any drinks left? Since you're asking, some water would be cool. But grab a drink if there are any. Toilet is upstairs. It's a bit of a long walk to freedom, but there is freedom. The light off. Do you need the light? Because people can't, we've got some live demos coming and it's dark mode vibes, so the light will be a bit of a challenge. Oh, can I have the water? Yeah. Should I put it on my seat? On your seat, put it on my seat, yeah. Okay, our guys last side.
Yeah, she's pulling them in.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's already figured out that you can do something with that QR code there? Anyone? Yeah. The dudes. Okay, so because these gentlemen really love swag, okay, I need to know which one it was. Okay, someone's got to claim. The first person to scan the QR code, I think you should claim it if it's you. I would claim it if I were you. Which one? There's got to be one. Young lady, are you claiming it? The gentlemen are... Who was first to scan? Who's the early adopter? Yeah? Okay. Don't move, stay right there. Okay, this gift has nothing to do with the QR code, but I needed some excuse to know who to give it to. Want to take a picture, anyone? Picture? What is your name, young man?
My name's Limit.
Limit.
Limit, double L.
Limit, okay. Are you a software developer?
No, I'm a student currently.
What are you studying?
Software development.
Okay. Have you written code?
Yes, I have.
Does it run?
Yes, it does.
Limit, you're a software developer. Congratulations. Okay, so at some point you're going to need a job, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So in that case, what you should do is go to offerzen.com. Okay. If you're a junior, you might not have some luck, inside knowledge, but maybe then you can call Decode and send them an email or something, or stalk the guys on LinkedIn and say, hey, I'm looking for a job. So Decode Development, they're sponsors, they're the ones who are giving you that. You're welcome to, why don't you open it and show people what's in there. So they are very good friends of the meetup. Open that, that's very nice. Make everyone jealous. They're looking. Decode's looking for a junior dev. I mean, Decode's they'll always be looking for people. Everyone's always looking for good people. That's for sure. So there we go. That's a very nice cup. I don't have one. I want one. Congratulations, Limit. And I will pass your thanks on to Decode. OfferZen are offering swag. If you scan the QR code, it is not random, I assure you. It's perfectly secure. I wouldn't know how to even hack anything if you if you paid me to. And then you kind of, with OfferZen, you enter a raffle and they'll just decide if you get a t-shirt or not. So hopefully you do. They're really nice if you do. Okay, cool. Then so later on, we're going to be giving away some coffee vouchers, and then one more Decode hamper. I have one to give out. I'll figure out how I'm going to give that in time. And that's our sponsor. So let's give a round of applause for our sponsor. All right, it is my pleasure to call up George S. van Heerden. George, before you get all serious and technical with us, just tell me, what were you doing this weekend?
I was away on a hunt.
And what did you shoot?
Blue wildebeest.
I don't know what that is.
It's a big buck.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you do with that buck once you shot it?
Well, you mean right after you shoot it? Or do you mean like in general?
Yes.
Okay, in general, we take it to a butchery, or rather an abattoir butchery combo, where they process the meat and then they make some delicious wors and burger patties, biltong, mince.
Okay, enough. I get the picture. And do you do the taxidermy and mount the animals on your wall? Do you have like a garage full of like dead things?
Not usually, but if it's somewhat of a trophy animal, I would usually keep the horns. And this buck that I shot, the skin, or the what do you call it? The outside of the
hide.
The hide was beautiful. So I'm getting that taxidermized so I can put it on my floor or something.
Oh, that sounds cool. Okay, I take it you aren't a vegan.
What's that?
Okay, cool. That's the right answer. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much, George. George and I know each other. How do we know each other?
ZA Tech.
Okay, ZA Tech. Who here is on ZA Tech? Awesome. Okay, well, there's a channel, Deep South Devs. If you're not on ZA Tech, please, if you subscribe to meetup.com/deepsouthdevs, subscribe there, and I'll send out details about ZA Tech. And it's kind of like an online community for people in and around software and tech in South Africa, hence ZA, if you hadn't made that connection. And so, yeah, we don't really know each other. We met for the first time tonight, but George is going to blow us away with some proper live demos, okay? And he's going to tell us, get into the details about open payments, right?
I mean, if you want, I can try, but
there you go. Okay.
That's not what this is about.
That's not okay. Okay, so there might be some open payments there. There's definitely be some AI, right? AI coding.
Definitely AI.
Okay. So just checking that the brief got across to him. And what else can I say? Please just be gentle if the live demo curse hits. You know how it goes. But I don't think it's going to hit. I think you're going to be amazing. So I'm going to pass this bad boy over to you. Maybe we can stick it right there. I think it'll be good.
Can you hear me? Okay. So I just have a few things to correct from Alex. Firstly, Alex, thank you so much for the opportunity for inviting me. I really appreciate it. So the first thing is it's demo, singular. Not demos, and it was broken when I arrived, but I fixed it, so it's not going to break. Touch wood, definitely not. Okay, so let us turn on these things. Yeah, well, that's what I did. I didn't fix it myself. I used AI to fix it. Okay, so maybe before I start, let me tell you what this is. As you can see, this isn't a slideshow. This is a website, full stack website. It's got a backend that's also running. And there's a little button here with money on it. And that's the demo that we'll get to. And the whole reason why I built this was to use the process that I will be talking about tonight of how I developed this and how I generally approach software development problems or projects, especially prototypes. Using AI is incredibly effective for prototyping something really quickly. And using the method that I'll be explaining tonight, you can get really, really far and have something that does not feel like a prototype. So, vibe coding. Does anyone know has anyone heard that word or the term? Maybe I should ask first, who in the crowd tonight, who are software developers? So we have a few. Okay, great. So I really hate the term vibe coding. I
really hate it because it's, I don't have the original definition as part of the slides, but I probably should have. But the original definition is like, you just give over to AI, you don't care what it does, you just give into the vibes and just look at the output. It's kind of like Jesus take the wheel, the code, you know? So I don't like it because when I develop software, I'm very precise and methodical, and AI is really not that. Yeah, it's really messy, and I'm going to start a timer, otherwise I'm going to ramble on for too long. Okay, so let's get into it. Where are we going with AI in general? And because language models, they're getting really good at stuff, and people are developing incredible tools, things called agents, that can execute autonomously, make decisions based on tools that they execute, and things like that. So where are we going? AI is changing how we code. It's happening slowly, but it's definitely happening. And I believe that one day we'll build by explaining things. Rather than necessarily writing code, there'll come a time where you will interact with the code base like you are talking to a person, and that is how you will make changes, or at least that's what I believe. And the same way, we don't care about underlying code that other frameworks and stuff is built on, like assembly. We don't care about assembly, right? We only care about the C code, and now we don't care about the C code anymore. We just care about the Python, you know. So we don't. It's all abstractions on top of each other, and one day we won't care about the code that's now so important to us. I'm saying us, but I'm talking about myself, because the code is one of the most important things for me, you know, having everything neat and structured and consistent. But one day we won't care about that. We'll just direct and correct. Can we do that now? Well, not yet, but we can come pretty close. And I don't know why it says love. I use a lot of AI to make the slide, the slides. So how I use AI to build, and what it was supposed to say there, exactly. Well, for tonight, we'll look at building something from almost nothing, from an idea, or maybe even you don't even have an idea yet, but you want to experiment with a technology like I did with open payments by IntelliJ, yes, and take it from a concept into a product. I really hope the rest of the slides are okay. So whenever I start, okay, maybe I should rather say this. So this whole example tonight is, like I said in the beginning, is based on how I built this, which is actually this, and the back end is actually what I'm referring to. When I say this, I don't mean the slideshow, although I did use it for the slideshow, as you can see. Okay. So tonight, the thing that I'm demonstrating, when I wanted to build it, I had no idea what IntelliJ was, who they were, what technologies they have, and I started reading up about them, and so that's what this means. It's, if you want to use something new, like open payments by IntelliJ, the first step, at least at this stage, should be to have a look at the docs, and it's very important that you form a very extensive or good fundamental understanding of the technology itself, so that you can correct AI. I don't think I should say AI, I should say LLMs, but so that you can correct the LLMs and you can guide them to the directions that you want to go. So the first step is have a good fundamental understanding. So when I started building this, first I looked at the docs, and then I was like, okay, I have somewhat of an understanding, and now I opened up ChatGPT, opened voice mode, and I asked it questions about IntelliJ in a conversational manner. So I would ask, what is IntelliJ? What do they do? What is open payments? Where should I start? And things like that. And I use that to further develop my understanding of their technology. And I also use that to formulate my idea, because I came into this with, I knew I wanted to build something for this talk. Like, I didn't want to just talk. I wanted to actually show something. But I didn't know what. And I didn't even know what the technology was. I knew it had something to do with payments, but I didn't know what it was. So what I did was in that conversational state, I used AI to brainstorm, to talk through concepts, and to formulate and validate my ideas. And so once I have validated my idea, because that's quite important, once I validated my idea, the next part was to info dump the whole concept, everything around it, into the context of an LLM, so that they can use that data and structure it. So once I have the idea, dump everything into the, it says chat, but it's supposed to be context, into the context of the LLM by using voice. You can use voice, or you can use some dictation models, like there's I can't remember what it was, Whisper or something, that's also apparently really good at dictation. But so you can just formulate this almost an idea vomit of what you want to build. So you include things like your features, your goals, what the product will be, what it's for, everything like that. You just talk as much as you can, and then you give that to an LLM, and then they can structure that for you. And okay, before we get to what structure you make with it, this is something that's fundamental to working with LLMs. Have you guys seen that movie where it's like, always be closing? So it's the same, but it's always be correcting when you're working with an LLM. So let me talk about the structure that I'm building with the brain dump or the info dump. So the structure, the document that I'm building from that is called a product requirement document. And this document basically outlines high level the purpose of the document, the purpose of the product, some of the features, the key features, the technologies that you'll use, things like that. And while building that, always be correcting. So watch what it does, pay close attention, don't trust it, read through everything. It's really good at processing and restructuring and all of that, but don't trust it, read it, correct hallucinations, cut fluff. Like AI, I shouldn't say AI, LLMs, they are really good at producing stuff. And if you're not strict and very direct, and then they'll just give you lots of information that's not really relevant, and that will only be detrimental at a later stage. So sharpen the logic, cut the fluff, and always be correcting. So now I have my first draft of my product requirement document. I've corrected it as I've gone through it. Now I extract that document, and then what I like to do is I like to take that out of the current context of the LLM and open a new chat or start with a fresh context and put the document in there, and then you ask the LLM. You ask it to ask you questions about the document. What am I missing in this document, and what's unclear? Are there any requirements for this thing that I'm building that I might not be thinking of, or additional features that might be necessary, or security considerations that I didn't think about? You ask it questions like that, but don't just accept everything. Always be correcting. Always be correcting. So now, once you're done with that questionnaire, you ask it to generate the document again. And you can use words like verbose and granular, so that it's specific, but also it doesn't cut out information. Because if you ask it to generate a lot of text, and then it will most likely will try to generate not too much. So there's a fine line. As if you're trying to generate a lot and you don't tell it to be verbose and granular, and then it might leave out some things. Whereas if you try to ask it to generate something relatively short, it might add fluff, and it will always add fluff and stuff. But anyways, always be correcting, always be correcting. So now that the product requirement document's finalized, I've downloaded it, I've ABC'd it, and I'm happy. The next step is to create technical specification documents. In my case, I created two because there's back-end and front-end, but that might not always be the case. But you can create, the reason why you want to create the technical specification document is so that you can outline the whole project in its entirety, but in a very, very technical manner. So we're talking about things like the project structure, like the actual directory structure, features, really specific features and requirements, which technologies you're using. You might even have insert some code snippets. So for example, with what I built, what I will show, I'm not exactly sure where the demo fits in with this talk, so maybe halfway through we'll take a break and I'll show you something. But with this demo, I did a lot of research with the documents, and I used a tool called Context 7. Has anyone heard of it? Okay, so Context 7 is a tool that's currently free for individual software developers, or it's free. And what it does is you can ingest documentation, I mean, or they already ingest documentation, and then you use similarity search to find specific documentation with code examples. And so I used that and used some of those specific code examples for what I was building, specifically on open payment side, and put that in the technical specification document so that my LLM, once it starts building, it has that context ready. And then again, always be correcting. It's very important at every single step. And the last thing before we start building is I like to create a progress document or a to-do list of some sorts where okay, I just have to say, I don't write anything when I'm talking about this. The LLM does it for you. So when I say I create it, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about, I instruct something to create it for me. So what I'll do is I'll take the the technical specification document, and I'll ask an LLM to extract or to rather create a sort of roadmap where we can split up the project into different sections or phases, and then you have a to-do list with different phases, different tasks in each phase of things to do and things that will get you to the final product. So once you reach the last step on the last phase, and then you have built what's outlined in your technical specification document and your product requirement document. And then the purpose of this is so that once the agent that you're using, doesn't matter which one you're using, but once you start using it, then it can keep track of what it's done. And so usually with our current limitations in context and things like that, any LLM, usually they won't have enough context space to process everything and build out the whole thing in one go. So you'll do step by step. You also tend to get better results because the bigger the context, the more it forgets the really specific things inside of a context. And then again, always be correcting. So once you start building, I've used Cursor before, and now I'm using RuCode, which is a VS Code extension, and you plug in your own API keys. I wouldn't say that RuCode is better than Cursor, or Cursor is better than Windsurf, or Windsurf's better than anything. I think that they're all kind of on the same level. Maybe I would put Windsurf and Cursor slightly above RuCode just because they are IDEs in themselves rather than just an extension. So this is what I talked about a moment ago, where you take it phase by phase, and you tell it to use the to-do list to track progress, and you watch carefully. Then, while watching it carefully, you should always be correcting. So the core principle of this whole thing, oh shit, I think, sorry, I probably shouldn't say that. I think this is my last slide. Okay, cool. So the core principle of this method is that you lead, the AI will follow, you direct, correct, and refine. And you should always be correcting. And so I have to say, there are some things in this slideshow that, or some things that I didn't get to putting in the slideshow, like, I believe that if you have a good enough technical specification document and you have a good enough progress tracking document, and if everything is perfect and your agent that you use is able to keep context of that accurately through each step, and then you can get to a point where you can let go and you can just let it do its thing because it understands exactly what needs to be done. And if you can get it to not add things, to only stick to the technical specification document, and then you can let it go. But that's very difficult. It's very difficult to do, but we'll get there, I think, sooner than we think. Okay, so the demo. It's very simple. I'm not sure what you guys heard about open payments, because I was a bit late because I was fixing this. But open payments, You know, I'm going to have a hard time explaining what it is. Or maybe I should ask AI what it is. How I understand it is a way of transferring money. Where's the ledger, the interledger people? What is open payments? If you would summarize it in 1 or 2 sentences.
It's an open standard that governs like setting the terms of a payment and acquiring consent from someone to charge someone that amount, basically.
That was great. Thank you very much. I would have totally butchered that. So they have this thing called a wallet that runs on their test network. And what I built is it's very, very simple, but let's say you go to Checkers and you buy a loaf of bread, and when you get to the till, and then they're like, you have to pay this much, and then you just swipe your card, right? You don't type in the amount that you want to pay, right? They handle that for you. And so what I built is something that does a similar thing. So when transferring money using this infrastructure, what I can do is I can select an account. So I have 2 accounts. I have a South African account. I figured out here you can give it any name you want. So it's called Pancake. And I have a European account. I can send money from one account to the other. And now this is within my own wallet, but principally it works the same whether it's from my wallet to yours or from. Does anyone have a test wallet?
Just sign up.
Nice. Okay. So I can send money. Let's say I want to send money from my Europe account to my South African account, and then I need my what's called like my wallet address. So that is this thing. This is my pointer that points to my wallet. And so now I'm just going to pay money into that account using my pointer. And let's say we'll add 10. And so I'm going to receive 20 rands because it is from euros, it's being converted from euros to rands. And I can add some description here. And so this is one way of paying where I specify the amount as I am now the person paying. This might be a little bit confusing because I am both the receiver and the payer at the same time. But so now I, as the person who is paying, entered the amount. Okay, and then I can send it, and oh, I see.
Just click send, don't wait too long. We tested something out, so we have to change it back.
Okay, thank you. No. Well, I just thought the internet was down or something. Because this isn't. Okay, no worries. No, this is great, by the way. Okay, so this isn't this is obviously not what I built, but this is just to show that this is one way of transferring money, and the thing that I built, which is over here, is now I am the receiver, and now I am going to request a payment from someone, and I can enter an amount. So let's say I enter 10 South African rands, and I request that. And now, here's a bit of an explanation of what's happening behind the scenes. So first, and I wish I did a bit more research. I didn't think I was going to be asked to talk about the technology, the underlying technology that much, but so how I understand it, at least, please correct me if I'm wrong, is the first step is to request for a grant, and as I understand it, that is, you are asking for permission first before you do it, and then we can skip that. We can skip that. It uses GNAP, which is something very, very interesting.
Negotiation authorization protocol.
Yes. And then we generate a URL that you can make the payment to. And here it is. So this wasn't here before, I promise. I just didn't scroll down. Okay, I cannot zoom out. And this is now on the back end linked to my South African account. So now I'm requesting 10 South African rands with this link. And if I go back to this page, and then I'll refresh just so that we have a fresh start. Now I paste that URL in here, and so that URL has nothing to do with my address for my wallet. It now has this ID that was basically the payment request was registered on the network. And here we can see the amount is populated because now 10 Rand is 0.48 euros. And the description is a tip jar payment. And now I can review it and make the payment. And it's done. So it's a very simple demo. But let's try adding a different description, because I haven't actually tested this. And if it breaks, maybe we can fix it using AI. Okay, so let's do 20 bucks. Oh no. Oh no. I forgot that, oh no. I forgot that I did something. I'm just gonna type it here, and then I'll go back. Okay. Do you have a question? I don't want to call what I'm doing vibe coding. But it is, yes. I am still adjusting. I'm still adjusting and coming to terms with accepting what I'm doing. Currently, I'm using VS Code, just vanilla VS Code with an extension called RuCode, which is an extension that has an agentic layer, basically, yeah. That's what I'm using, but I'm a big fan of Cursor as well, and I've heard a lot of good things about Windsurf. What do you use?
I don't use it, but maybe I'm interested in seeing like a demo of you speaking to the IDE.
Oh, I don't speak to the IDE. I speak to. You can speak to some IDEs. I haven't set that up on my side. I just really like the OpenAI's advanced voice capabilities, where you can have a conversation. It's really quick and It does still feel like you're talking to a robot, but it's You can kind of have a good conversation when you are when you're trying to learn something or understand something. Yeah. Who? Google. I haven't tried them. I'll check it out. Thanks. Okay, so let's try adding a description over here. We'll say hello interledger. I don't think I can add spaces. Okay, so now let's see if it will work. There we go, time's up. It worked. Well, we'll see now if the description pulled through. Okay, now I put the incoming URL in there, and here we go. Here is our description as well. So I can review and pay. Great. Great, so that works. That's good. That never works. So we can do some questions if you guys want, and I can show some an example of a workflow or something. But does anyone have any questions?
Just maybe a demo, like ask a code some questions and see if you've got it set up to kind of like ask questions about your code and see if it's able to give the answer back.
What would you like to ask it?
Maybe even what open payments is, and kind of get the LLM to break down what you've done.
What I've done. Okay, I'll do that, but I have to come clean first about something, because otherwise that's going to give away a lot of things. So I actually had a really cool demo planned, but I kind of ran out of time, and so I had to shorten or cut out a lot of stuff. So the whole plan was to for you guys to be able to make payments to this, and then there would have been, or technically it's still there, but like 3D coins that drop out of the top of the screen as the payments come in, and with a leaderboard with like who paid the most money. But yeah, but I just struggled a little bit with listening for the payment that was being made. Yeah. Okay. So now we can. Now that you guys know. Oh, sorry. There's more questions. Yes.
I just wanted to ask, the original design document generates the graphical details. So rather than it just being written down, do you have sort of visual elements of what's going to be built?
Yes, there are some diagrams using Mermaid.js. So some diagrams that show the structure of, how do you say, like the infrastructure diagrams, some ERDs.
Okay, so it's not necessarily a sort of example of the actual UI that you might want to do.
Oh yes, no, I didn't. You can do that, but I didn't do it as part of this. So yeah, no UI examples. Yeah. Yes. Yes, you, sir.
Which LLM tool have you found the best at producing code?
I would say Anthropic's Claude. 3.5 used to be the best, and 4 came out recently. I'm not 100% sure how that necessarily compares, but yeah, that's what I've found as the best. So let me show you some of the documents. So here I have a couple of documents, and the agent has added some of its own as well. You guys probably can't read this, eh? So I'll just give a quick overview of some of the documents. So the first one was the product requirement document. So I generate everything in Markdown. And so it starts off with an objective. And here we can see like the tip jar that I mentioned and all of those things. There's some use cases, key features, and then there's the technical architecture, some security stuff, and that kind of thing. And then for each of the back end and front end, I'll show the back end ones quickly. So this is the technical specification document. So this is where we went like really deep into the really technical stuff. Here you can see some code examples. There should be some diagrams as well. I added quite a lot of code examples from this, just to ensure that all of the documentation is up to date. And here we go. So here is a diagram of the system components. I'm using a SQLite database, or I was going to use a SQLite database. I do have it, but it's currently only tracking the payments, which isn't really that great. And then lastly, we have the progress documents. Where are those? So here's the front end one. Here we go. So the progress documents kind of look like this. So as you can see, it marked all of these complete, and as it went phase by phase, it did everything. So the first part was very first thing was to set up the directory structure, and then initialize a node project with TypeScript, installing dependencies, that kind of thing. Yeah, no, it checks it by itself. So you have to tell it what to do. You can't just assume it to do anything. But so for example, once I have now generated this and all the other things and I'm ready to go, and then I would say, here is your progress tracking document. Use this to decide what to do next, and mark things complete as you go, and start with phase one. Don't do everything at once, start with phase one. We do phase one. I do some testing after phase one just to see if everything works as we expect at that phase. And then it has already marked it complete, and then I can say, if I start a new context, I can say exactly the same, you can use exactly the same prompt, and it will look at the document and it will see that these are marked as completed already, and it will continue to the next one. Sorry? Oh, you want to see what's going on there?
Cool. Guys, George, can you hang around?
Sure.
After this, I think guys have questions. So just to bring it into this, I want to just bring up. Firstly, thank you, George. This is great. Okay. So we've got digital swag to give out, these coffee vouchers and the JetBrains license. But I'm just going to ask you, please email me. Take my email if you want one of those. I think it's like 150 Rand off a coffee order. That's the coffee. I've got about 10 of those and some JetBrains license. It's a year to any JetBrains product. Those are all digital, so I can just email them back to you. That's going to be the easiest way to administer that. So the important things, if you want it, you email me and I'll email it back to you, and please use it. That keeps the ball rolling. Again, the offer's in QR code. And then I just have one more, Decode Development. They are a software house. If you need software built or if you need a job, chat to them. And I have one more hamper to give out. And I'm going to ask a question. See who was listening earlier. Okay, so fastest hands first. Okay. In which country is... No. Okay. He's got me. Okay, let's try again. In which suburb will you find coffee? Come on, guys. Has a confident hand raise. Okay, that's Dion. Nope. 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 Which one? No.
I have a question.
Which suburb does coffee? Where do they roast? Yeah.
I have another question if you want one.
Okay.
What is the HTTP code for I am a teapot? Is that more difficult? Okay, never mind.
Okay, how about this? Who wants to give a stab at explaining open payments in 2 sentences?
Wow. Payments are open.
Lovely coffee. You get points. You get it just for attempting it. So I mean, it's like pretty.
Let me try.
Okay,
Basically, open payments is me asking for permission to be granted to give you money. No. Nathan, validate, please.
I'm just deciding how charitable I want to be.
Okay, let's try this. Did you hear that? No. You didn't hear it?
No, we didn't.
What was wrong? Okay, you have to speak up. They're the judges, so.
It's a framework for implementation of payment systems.
No, we cannot hear it.
A framework for payment implementation systems.
Okay.
Are any other takers?
Any other takers?
Otherwise, I'll pass judgment.
Okay.
I was just going to say it's a standardized framework for sending and receiving payments.
Standardized framework for?
Sending and receiving payments.
Okay.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah? Okay, cool. Constantia.
I think it's 418 or 428. I think it's 418, but I'll ask my friend now.
All right. Well, that concludes proceedings. You're welcome to leave, or you're welcome to keep on learning about vibe coding. I'm going to switch to this guy.
Yeah, I'll show some demos and stuff if you guys want to see afterwards. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for sticking around. How's it going, man? I'm George.
Darryl. Nice to meet you too. I just wanted to ask, with the open payments docs, because I tried feeding them into Cursor, they're a bit problematic to feed to. Do you use Context 7?
Yeah, let me show you.
Curiosity.
So,
yeah, it's my first time hearing of Context 7, because I normally just put it in directly through the docs indexing feature of Pixel. But it struggled a lot with that just because of how the pages are indexed on the open payments page.
So, I'm just struggling to find my internet. So with context 7, what I use I use the MCP server in my code editor.
Okay.
And so I actually added the interledger documentation to this by adding their GitHub
It's often as a
repo,
community
and then
wants
they have a way of indexing
do it
everything.
often
And
because
so if we go to
kind of the
open payments, and then you'll see that it was added.
Yeah,
like
but
yesterday.
yeah, I'd like to do it at least
that was when I started. Cool, so now I can go in here, and then this is what the LLM will use. So if I say like, so what I did now was I used the request payment. So let's say requesting a payment, and then it will do a semantic search and it will find some documentation based on that. And so, yeah. And then, so I'm not sure if this helps, but yeah.
No problem.
Hi.
I'd like to see your prompt that you're reusing for doing each section. You said you started up a new context window, and how complicated is your prompt? Or was it just like?
No, it's not that complicated. Are you talking about the code execution part?
Yeah.
So it's really. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was great.
It was very good.
Appreciate it.
You know what? I go with the vibe coding thing because I reckon it's like a good vibe. Remember when you first started programming and it was fun?
Yeah.
And then you started working and you started doing boring shit.
Yeah.
I find like I like vibe coding because it is actually
it's so fun.
It's so fun.
It's so fun. Yeah.
It's fun again.
Yeah.
It's fun again, and that's why I like it because it's a good vibe. Doesn't mean that you're just ignoring the code.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so these are all my fixes.
Okay.
This was just before the talk began.
Okay, yeah.
I did a fix, or I asked it to fix something. Okay, so here I was testing the backend after it was built.
Okay, so you don't just copy and paste the prompt, you do change it a bit.
But yeah, I retype it, but it's usually the same. I usually just reference the things. I'm just looking for one now. Here we go.
Paste prompts.
So this one might take a while because it's massive. The context in this one.
Okay. Have you tried Claude Code yet?
I haven't. I heard it's amazing.
It's amazing, but I blew through $5 in like 45 minutes.
You don't even want to know how much this costs.
Oh really?
Yeah, just because with this you use your own API keys, like with Claude Code, you also use your own API key.
I just use Cursor.
Yeah, with Cursor you have a fixed amount that you pay every month.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's why I like Cursor.
This whole thing, I blew like 1,200 rand.
Okay, yeah, I can imagine.
In 2 days, yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's expensive. It's like.
Yeah, but if you use something like Cursor, and then you only pay a fixed amount every month.
It just gets slower.
Yeah.
City projects, I just go usage limit is $10 max on
So Gemini, I tried Gemini Code today.
Oh, yeah.
It's not as nice as Claude Code, but they give you a free. It's free.
I found when it was
So
at
that's
Sonic
nice.
3.7, the Gemini Pro model was actually better. It was
Yeah.
very good.
I actually play them off each other a lot because sometimes like one, they'll give you different ideas.
So somebody
especially
actually
bug
said
fixing.
on ZA Tech to do a commit after every prompt.
Yes.
And I tried that, and it's actually a really cool tool because you can then see like where things went pear-shaped when you want to and you roll back to that point. It would be cool if you could roll the context back to there
You
as
can
well.
in Cursor.
Oh, can you roll your context back?
Yeah,
That's
you
pretty
can.
cool.
You can go to restore to this checkpoint, and then you overwrite that last message
Okay.
as well, and then it will forget everything that happened and go back
That's
to
awesome.
that point.
Okay, here's my prompt.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here I asked it to continue a task because it walked out. So I said we're busy building a project outlined in, and then I mentioned the product requirement document, so the overall one. And then I said we have already built the back end. We're now building the front end. Here is the technical specification document. Use that as a source of truth.
Again.
Your progress is tracked in the progress document. Please check how far the current task has been completed, then continue.
Yeah, so it's simple. So you put all your important infos in those docs.
Exactly. Yeah. So
your
the prompt
can be quite
is
small.
really simple. Very well. Well, at least I don't think that this is the best prompt, It's definitely not the best. You can make it so much better.
I think sometimes just the first prompt works, and then you have to iterate.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, well done. I think it was cool. I still don't know what intelligent is.
Yeah, I think I
So then said, how does it get from those bank accounts into your actual bank account?
I don't
That's the bit that I don't
there's an
get.
answer to that
Yeah,
question.
so how I understood it is you integrate with
a wallet provider, right?
with a like I'm trying to think of an example, but like basically you can build something like PayPal with it.
Okay, yeah.
You can build something like that, and that maybe even uses it under the hood, probably.
Or something like it is. It's something like PayPal, but then how does the money come in? I know PayPal, like you can only do it with FMB. So like, you know,
No,
there's so
like
many
that's the thing.
restrictions here.
Yeah, you can only receive international payments through the Reserve Bank,
Yeah.
basically. So they
The
have
guy's
to
question
be-
was good, and they didn't answer it.
I don't think they have an answer.
Yeah, I don't think they have an answer. But why did you choose
I think the
interpayments?
point is, I think the point is the Reserve Bank will have to run their software and integrate with their
Yeah,
software,
which is-
and then they can transact. Somebody said it's like it's against the law for them to operate in a bunch of countries. So maybe in South Africa they would have to.
Maybe they tried to.
The thing is, like,
They try.
yeah,
I guess
in that space though, like it's the banks. It's you need a banking license, right? And that's like the thing that's hard. You've got to fight for that in the auction. It's the same as the
I
telecommunications.
feel like they're going to go for it and like not have a bank. It's like they're not holding any money, they're not doing anything with the money, and they're just like passing it around. So I think that's where they're trying to operate.
Yeah.
See?
Why did you choose this Interledger?
Just because they were responsible.
Oh, okay. So it came. They wanted to do their presentation.
Yeah, but no. When Alex asked me, he said it would be cool if I built something with that.
Okay, cool. I was wondering then how it came about. But yeah, the presentation, I really liked it.
Thanks so much.
I'm a big fan of live just embrace it. It's cool, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to do stuff that like, you know, it's not work.
Where
and it's not tedious. Like, you know, like...
Well, I have to say this was fucking tedious. Just because I was so ambitious with the original project.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so then...
Is that how you're looking to...
And my fundamental understanding, the first thing that I started my talk about, my fundamental understanding about the open payments wasn't that great because I was so limited for time.
Yeah.
So that kind of bit me in the arse at the end.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was cool. I
tying
think you gave a real good information, and I'm really happy to have come to an AI talk where I actually like learn to come to things. And like maybe I was doing them already, but you really clarified them. So
Big pleasure.
Yeah, cool.
So happy you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Check out AI Studios.
I will.
I use them as well. We've got workspaces.
I heard their new model is amazing.
Yeah, and they've got this new when you work on Gemini. Have you done the infographics?
No, I tried one, but I don't know if they're so terrible at naming their products, right? Like, I don't know which one is which exactly. There's the Canvas thing.
Yes, from the Canvas.
Okay.
You can create
So I said to do that, but then I made a web page, and I didn't like. Okay. But then, can you print it? Okay. From within there, or did you just use like Chrome print? Okay.
And then, but then I also so I was doing did a presentation for a client.
Okay.
I did a doc, and then I got it into the infographic.
Okay.
And then I styled it company. I said here our company, whatever.
Okay.
Style it. And it styled it.
And did that. Okay, cool.
And then I got it into the infographic. Then I edited the infographic a bit.
Okay.
And then I did a slideshow from it.
Okay.
And in HTML.
I tried to do a slideshow. I've got to do a presentation next week, and I was like, okay, cool, let's try this out. No, like I actually was just trying to get it to help me do the outline kind of thing. But like, the point about clearing the context is like, it doesn't. So I'm also a biomedical engineer, so I have like a neurological understanding, and I built neural networks, computer neural networks from scratch. And the problem is like it doesn't understand negative words. Like it just gives a little bit of a hint in the context, yeah, but it doesn't. It can't really ingest that. So if you say leave this out, yeah. So you've got to. So you've got to like take the whole context out, whole thing, and put something back in with that like completely missing, and then it's okay. And does that work? Right. Yeah. The negating thing, I think, is really struggling.
It's getting better, like once they look for the
yeah.
But the context is definitely an art. Getting not too much and not too little.
Yeah, exactly. I actually, so we built like firmware, electronics and stuff as well. And this was my like really cool demo that I did. We used it to build a little proof of concept, and that was what I did there that really worked was actually just building one prompt. So I iterated the prompt a couple of times, and then just did one prompt. And it was really cool. It's like a system for we'll feed it like an image. So we'll feed it like an eye.
Maybe you have to just be careful of like these. Basically, you create pure functions that you know you need to transform like mass amounts of data. You create pure functions, you make the whole thing like lazy sequence, whatever you do.
I don't actually know what it is. I'm a little bit abstract from that layout.
What was your application? What was what budget was this application being?
It built this whole thing, like, so, and that was all one prompt, right? And so, like,
were you concerned? What made you
yeah, it's so super. But like, so this was great to secure the business, but then I put all of that code in the dustbin, and now it's just not production. Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, like, that was in Python, and it was off video that they took off their phone, whereas the real solution is like an embedded camera on a iPhone.
Wait for it to reload.
Where do you
reload fastest?
Okay, cool.
That feedback will be so slow.
What kind of stuff do you
The feedback is really fast, but the REPL, I struggle with any language because it's so REPL.
you run your REPL? You said you run it in a production. So you look into your process.
You can make it a bit safer that you're like starting to push like duplicate functions, so you're not always changing live code, you're like testing stuff. You're like, of course, yeah. Stock take is like no one restarts the server.
Also, they're just creative. Even if it was just partially, it's just like they destroyed the
types of objects you return to your
Look, our experience was like quite limited, but it was kind of the normal situation where like technology people but don't actually have anything. So it's kind least in the place we're involved, like the overhead of training a model often doesn't justify using it. Yeah. Yes, the challenge is like, when I was doing an undergrad project, my supervisor actually works for like flight controllers. Yeah, so that's the problem, right? You can build a supervisory network around that or have a pilot, but because you can't actually predict what the black box is going to do, you don't know that your supervisor is going to there's a video now of Tesla trying to drive that car around, and like they've got somebody sitting there, right? And you don't know that that person is not going to actually cause the accident in response. So because that system's so unpredictable, but it's that exact thing. Well, that's the problem, right? So first job was building a mammography machine and an X-ray. So I also happen to know a lot about that one, and like your false positives are a really big problem because it's like a horrible experience and super traumatizing to go for a biopsy and then women don't come back and people get scared of them. So you kind of ruin the whole screening every time you have a false positive. Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing is like if you highlight something to a radiologist, then they might miss something else that could have also been important. So it's like always like an ethical. It's such an ethical line. Like these things are happening and it's pretty
Janice. Thank you so much. And hope to see you again soon. I really appreciate also, what you do.
I was walking out and then I saw somebody else and we were like, there's no point in
Thank you so much. See you around.
Thanks for organizing.
Listen to his feedback, you got from the
Let's sort.
I said I did with them. Maybe we can give us some bring my kind of advice.
Oh, did you move the cover?
Got one that's going into production, going into test.
Oh, okay. Oh, you still want to say goodbye?
What I'd rather do is let's go now.
Yeah, you can say goodbye.
Yeah. Guys, thank you.
I had a topic of bootstrapping your own startup. And I got very cynical after I just sold my startup. Yeah. That's fine. Like I just wasn't ready to it's a novel writing. Because like
Cool. Tulani? It's terrible, man. I have like so many flashbacks to being in Boston. There's no internet here. Like, the lecture theater is like. I don't know if they do it on purpose or not, but either way.
Yeah, you have to. So yeah, it's
then it was Cape Ray.
When you seriously are hunting
In the corner.
is that something you do?
Yeah, you guys were like just, we came to see you because we had just started our company and we were like, do you want any hardware?
Is it are you from
a soft idea about like putting a little light to help the guys find the product.
Okay, so you grew up in
I think next time I have to make up especially when it comes to
Oh, yes.
and then also I get friends that
You had that picture of the like QR code scanners, and that was
started off well and then the lights and then
Sounds maintainable.
You'll never be able to do anything.
How do these turn off?
Under pressure.
The tiniest little switch.
Especially and you guys are all not at One today. And you guys done this big exit. Have you seen this thing? You haven't seen this like this drama that's somebody forked their tech basically and made another snap. And now like a whole bunch of people have been left and like I don't so I'm quite a recent joiner to tech and I don't know all the politics that are going on.
So I did realize I opened the Cape Town channel and nobody has spoken in there since Tuesday. Right. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I just carried on working. But the Cape Town channel is so busy and I didn't find
so
it
everyone's left basically to this like I don't know what so I don't have any clue but I do like the guy I can't remember. There's some guy who kind of cucks on people.
The only thing I know is that they changed leadership admin like a month or two ago, and that might be there's a new guy in charge, and maybe there's politics. But that's it. I'm just I joined the admin channel because you have to ask the questions there. Okay.
Can you just close that other?
This one.
You can. Just log out the live streaming. Sorry. Just stop.
That's still going.
In stream.
No one speaks.
Perfect. Yeah.